What's
Your eyes got so big.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we put the real. I'm sorry, I heard people. In reality. Period. The fuck? Oh, period. Period. I'm your host, Pharaoh. I'm doing.
Don't be too loud, girl. We don't want to be like chicken squawking.
It's too late. They would have already done cut off the video. Oh shit! I bet they watching it. If you watching it and you was the one who commented because you deleted it.
Oh, we saw you deleted it, babe.
We saw you deleted it. Look, it's okay if you like the. It's okay. Hi, y'all. The girls are coming for us in the comments, please. Anyways, I'm your host, Pharaoh. I'm doing good. We're joined by our wonderful co-host Lily. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Oh, I stole that. I stole that from what's that girl name? How you doing? What's that girl name? How you doing? I didn't know I stole that. But yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm back to being optimistic, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. Only because okay, the house was being very stagnant. And honestly, at this point, it's giving it like, first of all, it already sucks because we don't have 24/7 live feeds. So I'm the type of person, okay, we have the digital dailies. I'm going to work it out. You know, I can make myself like them. I was getting pissed because we're not getting any weekend feeds. You know what I mean? We only get 2 hours a day. 50 minutes is a relevant conversation. But, you know, what's starting to happen in the game has made me a little bit more interested. Like, there's developments that are happening that makes me want to be more intrigued. And it's like, it went from, okay, I'm upset because this cast looks so good and I want live feeds to see them. Then it went to, well, fuck, I don't even need the live feeds. The fucking gameplay is terrible. Fuck all of these bitches. So now it's back to, I would love to watch this 24/7.
Period. And before we get into this motherfucking video, if you have not seen our digital daily recap, go watch that.
Go watch that.
Real quick.
Go watch that.
Because you're not going to know what the fuck
we're talking about. If you want like details, if you want specific details, like everything we ran through, it would be in that video.
Period. And this video, we're going to update you on stuff that might have happened after the day we did it. And then we're going to update you on the general terms of the week, kind of how this week ended off. So we're going to give you all those quick updates. And then we're going to get into our motherfucking player ratings. If you see the title, you know we will be rating these players every season of Big Brother, Survivor. We rate the motherfucking players. We give you a number. We put a number to the face. And we put a rate to the case.
Sometimes a decimal. Sometimes not a number at all. We give out zeros.
Zeros, bitch.
We give out zeros.
A lot of them. Go check our BB24 ratings. If you want to know our BB24, go check out real quick. If you ain't seen us before or whatever, check out our BB24 player ratings for the whole season. You'll be gagged.
We'll give you a 0. We'll give you a 0.5.
We'll give you a negative sometimes. I might. It's gonna come one day. Trust. You will be dealt with. So let's get into it or whatever. You know what? I'm gonna. If you are a visual learner.
Mm-hmm. Visually,
if you are part of the kingdom, you already know this. If you visual, go to YouTube. Now, if you're not part of the kingdom, you know, go to YouTube if you visual.
Go to YouTube
because we're gonna have the visual.
The pictures are up, and under the pictures, well, shit, there's a lot of pictures actually.
There's pictures, and then there's more pictures. On the top, we're gonna have our player rating. This is gonna be for this week, y'all, because it's the first week. We don't have previous week. Usually, what we do is we put the previous week on the top. The new week ratings are gonna go on the bottom. But right now, we just have the current first week ratings are going to be on the top. Below is our draft picks. Lee is losing bad.
We're tied.
Numerically tied. Gameplay, he's losing.
Tied. Regardless. You're mad.
Period. But first, let's get into this motherfucking tea or whatever. So, what we've learned where we were last at, is that the boys was running the house. It was a 4-person alliance with the boys. It's Zach, Jonathan, Ty, and Rob. Essentially, they were trying to parachute. However, they weren't parachuting the best they could be parachuting. Mm-hmm. They just had general relationships outside of that 4. They felt like they were going to run the house in circles. The tea is, they were running Santina's HOH.
To the ground. Ooh,
bad.
It was bad.
And then as soon as Santina was done, and she put up John Michael,
they said who?
Bertine, who?
It turned into an owl real quick.
Oh, God. So they didn't know who Santina was. They didn't talk to her. They wasn't getting that girl no attention. She wasn't getting no hugs. And she clapped. I'll give her that. That's the thing. Santina went from the Il Nana to Bertina. For me, It might be the Il Nana again. I'm
And
sorry.
for me, it's giving a side eye. It is. It's giving
Side eye Tina.
bombastic side eye because
Yeah.
she did a lot of weird shit before that damn veto. And it's like she wants to wake up after the veto is used. She let Zach get into her brain, infiltrate her mind, set up a whole
wasn't even a
condo
5-man of all the men.
prefrontal cortex. It was terrible. Okay. And then after veto is used, John Michael's on the block. Damn, the decision is made. He might as well be evicted when you renominate him. You want to get some damn sense. It's like, I can't give it to her that quickly. I can't give it to her that quick. It's too long. And she was HOS for 2 weeks. The Guardian gets sentenced to the last 3 days. I can't give it to her. I can't. I can't. Because it's like you immediately wake up. She's like, well, I'm noticing that Zach and he's hanging out with Anika all the time, and no one's really hanging out. No one's really asking me questions. No one's giving me hugs, and this was like.
Child. So on the digital daily recap we saw that Santina, Renee. I'm sorry, I thought of a group of people that I was gonna call them. Renee, Claudia, Santina, and the other girl named Shanaya were all talking to them.
I just thought
and they were all talking, and they were basically like, the boys are clearly working together. And Santina was like, "Girl, yes, they ran my HOH. They got me. We need to."
She was like, "Look, y'all,
they're gonna do it to y'all. Be careful." And the girls was like, "They're not gonna do that." But she was like,
"No, they were literally like, no, we were noticing that you really only talk to the guys, and so we're happy basically that you're waking the fuck up, sister."
Yes. And so the girls, and I had a small inkling that maybe Shanaya and Renee were already a little woke, but we don't know if that's true or not. But at this conversation, Shanaya, Renee, Claudia, and Santina were like, "Girl, the boys is working together. We need to continue to make them think we're dumb as hell. And then we need to act accordingly. All us girls need to stick together." They vaguely mentioned, where does Vanessa, Kuzie, and Anika stand? What's that about? And they kind of said they don't know about Anika. Because Anika has a good relationship with Zach and them. So they were like, maybe not her, but the other two, we think we're good. So all the girls need to be on the same page, act dumb. Boom. What happened after that? Period. There's also an update on Claudia and Ty. Now to see is Claudia and Ty, at first, Ty was hanging out with Renee, and then he started hanging out with Claudia.
It's real messy at the big
They kissed, but they was having beef. Because the beef was, Claudia apparently was walking around in a hoodie, and it was Rob's hoodie.
It was Rob's hoodie.
I'm sorry. And Ty Pisces ass, I guess. And that's the thing. Lee had a theory that Ty was like low-key a little jealous of Rob. A little intimidated by Rob. And I don't see why he would be. I mean, if I had to choose, it's no competition.
I mean, I'm choosing both.
That's why he's intimidated. It should just be one, because that's what Claudia's doing also. So Ty basically, and this happened on the episode too, Ty basically called out Claudia for wearing his sweater, and he's like, "What's the tea on that?" And Claudia was like, "Girl, what are you talking about?" And, some of the girls were mad about that. Now, I don't know how to feel, because I felt like the situation was weird. Him like calling her out on it, but I don't think the intention was what it was perceived as. Maybe I kind of felt like his intention was more so, "Girl, like I'm jealous." I think he was a little jealous, and I think it was kind of presented as he was being like overbearing. But I don't think that's what I think he was just jealous, insecure, whatever. And that's okay. You can be jealous and insecure and still be fine. I think that's where people don't understand. People don't understand that Ty can be fine and insecure at the same time. It just doesn't make sense in people's brain. But I think that's what it was. Boom.
And that definitely started like some tension between Rob and Ty. Because we kind of got that at the end of, because basically the main house structure by the end of the first main half of the digital dailies, by the end of Tuesday, it was the guys controlling Santina, and they had their parachutes in like Renee and Shanaya through Rob, and then Ty and Zach mainly had Anika, Kuzie, and things like that. But by the end of like Tuesday, Wednesday, everyone's aware that the boys are working together. So it's like, that's why we got the conversation between all the girls.
Literally. And going into this week, we got a digital daily update today. That was today? Yeah. Today. And we found out that the HOH competition, which was basically basketball, I don't know what that was, Dan wins. So Dan Irrelevant Ass is now the HOH. The last thing we got when it came to like strategy was the idea that Rob might be the target this week from Ty and Zach. So kind of the only thing we can assume going into this week is maybe Ty and Zach are going to push for Dan to take out Rob because they were saying if Dan wins HOH, that's when we can do it. So that's kind of where we're at going into this next upcoming week. And period. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Well, like for example, so what really kicked off like the split, because that was like an initial thing that happened in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So what really kicked off Ty, what we can assume Ty and Zach are going to try and get Rob targeted this week is because the situation was they were joking or something about like showmasters or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and Rob made the joke about Claudia wearing his jacket in front of everybody, and Ty did not take that lightly. He went into the room with Zach and he was like, "This dude is trying to sun me." Like that was disrespectful.
Yeah,
like it was already disrespectful that she was wearing a goddamn jacket, and now you trying to disrespect me now in my face. So he really felt that way about that. And Zach was saying, you know, he seems like he must be intimidated by us. Like, what is his problem? Like, he's super disrespectful. They were like, we basically got out JM because of him, and now he's treating us like this because they're under the impression that Rob basically has been, I don't know, straying away from the guys' alliance. Like he's working separately with Renee, Shanaya. He's trying to get Claudia. He's trying to get Santina. He's trying to get everyone's pieces. So they feel like this is basically the last straw. They want to try and get him out next week. Like at first it was, okay, we want Roberto and Dan on the block to get out Dan and dead the guys' alliance rumors. But now they just straight up want Rob out. And that's really interesting because the core was essentially the four boys. Yeah. That's split into including the three. Rob. And now it's just the three. So we're assuming, well, Zach and Ty is the core. They are still loyal to Jonathan, but they're using hope as their parachute, and they all the way want Rob out. And now that Dan is HOH, we can assume that, of course, Zach is just going to run Dan's HOH because all we know from the digital dailies is that Dan has been up under Zach all day long. So, I mean, if he gets his way this week, Rob may be leaving, but we have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know. So with that, we can get into the ratings or whatever. Now, the gag is that when it comes to, I guess, because we're going to base it off what happened last week. And in this season, we now are going to know who the HOH is going into the next week when we do the ratings. So it's mostly based off what happened last week, how people played last week. And then, of course, we have this information of who the HOH is. So we can use that to base our ratings off of too. Because now I just feel, you know, there's certain people I can feel differently about. Dan is all the way HOH. So mostly week one, but we have that one piece of information who the HOH is. So let's get into it. Like, let's just get into the ratings, period. Fuck. First we have John Michael. John Michael was evicted. So we will be rating John Michael as an overall player. Lee, how you feel about John Michael as an overall player?
I really like John Michael. I feel like if any mistake he did would definitely be telling Zach and Dan that he wants to nominate the guys, go after the big guys. I really do not know what was going through his mind in those early days. So I'm assuming, well, we know that conversation happened even before him or Santina was the HOH. However, I feel like other than that, he didn't really make that many mistakes. I feel like a lot of this took place because of Zach being able to take control over Santina's mind and basically get her to do whatever he wanted. Because, you know, Santina basically admits in the conversation with those girls that she doesn't know if this was a correct move for her. She doesn't think that John Michael was actually after her. And it was John Michael's conversation with her after she backdoored him that made her think those things. If anything, I think it shows that, you know, he is someone that could have been a dangerous player socially. But, I mean, he even also admitted that, you know, it wasn't until after he was nominated that he really started talking game with people. Yeah. And I think a lot of that was because once the guys were able to take over Santina's HOH, from what we got in the digital dailies, they just kind of divided and multiplied. You have Rob talking to Renee and Shanaya. You have Ty with Claudia. You have, I mean, Hope somewhere in the mix with that. Zach has Santina. Ty working on Kuzie and Anika. You know, everyone kind of just took their person, and it caused a lot of commotion. And it was kind of the general consensus that this is what the majority is doing. So I do think that he kind of just got ousted immediately, and he had to crawl out of a hole that was honestly just too deep to be in week one. And he had to sit in that house for 2 full weeks. So these feelings on him were, prevalent throughout that entire time. So they were able to kind of just grow more and more agitated. Like it got to the point where Zach and they were saying they didn't want to be around him. And he wasn't even doing anything. He wasn't being annoying. He wasn't being rude. I feel like I have to keep it at a 5 just because I don't want to take that one conversation he had with Zach and base it on him as a full player. I feel like there was a lot of potential in John Michael, and he showed how he could have executed it because on his way out, I mean, the votes were there. I just think there was so much commotion and so much confusion that they were not able to line the correct way. And I don't think that's a lot of his doing. I think it's just kind of just it's the week one fluff of things. Everyone kind of just wants to be in the majority in safety. So if a name gets brought up, everyone's just gonna go with it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It sucks because he did do the I'm going after the big guys thing, and that's what makes me feel like what was you thinking? And one of my issues when we were doing the draft picks, I didn't want to pick JM because he kept saying he was gonna kind of be like that. He was just gonna be real, and I'm just telling her like it is. And Flo just grab a last vest, and who I'm going after, they just gonna know.
I didn't think he was gonna be that real.
And And it's like he went in the house and he actually was doing it. I was like, girl, what are you doing, please? So that made me feel like, but other than that, like Lee said, it wasn't giving like he was making it. He didn't really do much wrong. I think it was dumb as fuck for Santina to take him out.
So it didn't make any sense because
like,
even though he told Zach that he was targeting the guys, that was not Santina.
That's
so
a girl.
It's like at the end of the day, he did nothing to the HOH to be nominated or backdoor. He got played by outside sources.
And he made a deal with her. Like he did when it comes to Big Brother, what you need to do, the main thing I would have wanted him to do is make a deal with Santina that if either of them win HOH, they're safe. He did that. She went back on it because she's weird. No shade. I'm sorry.
No shade.
I'm sorry. But it was like, I don't know. It didn't make any sense for her to do that. So in my opinion, he should have been safe this week anyways. Just because he put in the work with Santina, at least in that moment.
Hold on. Pause.
So it's like, I don't know.
Thinking about it, why was he not given automatic immunity because he was partners with Santina?
That too. Usually BB Canada, that's a BB Can thing anyway.
But that's not a BB Can. That's like Big Brother. Like usually, if you win with
if you win with someone, usually
John Michael, baby, call Arissa and get your check because what? He should have been given immunity.
Honestly.
He should have been given immunity. You know what?
So it was a lot of things. I think I'm agree with the 5.
Because that just pissed me off.
I think I'm agree with the 5 because you're right. He had a lot of people wanting to save him. People were crying. It's like, why are y'all crying this week 1, please? But they were literally crying. Like Claudia was his friend. She wanted to save him. Daniel. He had
Shanaya was in tears.
Hope literally was going to people like, I mean, you don't want to save John Michael? It's like, okay. So I think I got to give him a 5. I would have gave him higher if he just wasn't literally the first boot. But hey, gotta do what we gotta do. Now, next, y'all, let's get to the players because people still look at Anika. Now,
Anika is hilarious.
She's a character. I like Anika though. I do. Gameplay wise, this is my thing. I think she's smart. Like I think she's a smart person who does not know anything about Big Brother. So when she got in the game, she says things that sound smart and are, I can't say they're not smart, but because she doesn't know what Big Brother is, the complexity of Big Brother, it doesn't necessarily apply to Big Brother. Mm-hmm. It's like a general concept that makes sense, but in Big Brother terms, it doesn't necessarily make sense. She's like, well, girl, if we make alliances, people are going to target us because they're going to know we have alliances. And it's like, that makes sense in Big Brother 1. Mm-hmm. We are on BB Can 11. And it's like, okay, it's like she got it, but she don't. And they're like, who do you think Zach's going to nominate or target? She's like, I think he'll target like some of the strong boys because he can't beat the strong boys. And it's like, girl, yes. But no, but yes, because he is. But no.
There's so many levels
and
to it.
And it's like, girl, I don't even know. And I think she just has a general sense of things. But in the game, it's like she's not going to go where. Because a lot of people are already saying, a lot of the people who would be her allies are saying, I can't rely on Anika. She don't know what the fuck she be talking about. And it's like, that's bad for her. That alone is bad for her because the people who would have worked with her in a season are now not feeling the value in her allyship. If she can't win a comp and if she can't provide strategy, how are you valuable to me? And I feel like that's going to hurt her because she doesn't know the game. And it's not her fault. It's just she doesn't know the game. I think she's in a position to where she's not going to be a target from now on. And she could be a pawn, but she could also end up not being a pawn because the house is leaning towards this new Rob thing. And she's not connected to Rob in any way. So it's like if she starts sliding by, it's giving random triple eviction. Oh, random, we couldn't execute a back door, so she has to go. Random, we're running an HOH and we're trying to get out of it, so she has to go. So it's just going to be a sense where she's just going to randomly get out. I don't see a winning path for her. It's very early, but it just doesn't seem she knows enough just yet. So I'm going to give Anika a 4. I'm going to give her a 4. I don't think she's in a terrible position. I don't think she's going to go home necessarily soon. But when it comes to everything else, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely just going to give Anika the 4 as well. It's just, when it comes down to it, she just does not know the game. And we're watching her learn the game, and it's really interesting and it's fun because, like you said, she had a really good initial instinct. You know, when she was having the conversation with Santina, when she was talking about being, going up as a pawn, like, you know, she was fighting for her life in that situation. That's why she went and asked Ty to use the veto on her. And when he won, she stayed on his ass like a hawk. She said, no, sister, you're going to use that motherfucking veto. Because for this reason, and this reason. Mm-hmm. Granted, the reasons she was trying to present were all ABC. Big Brother 101.
They were reasons, though.
But they were reasons. I just feel like Anika, if she was a fan, like literally, it would be. I think her and Kuzie could really be a dynamic duo because I think Kuzie is honestly Anika with knowing the game. Honestly, I just think if Anika knew the game more, she could be way more, included. Is the issue with now is that even though like the girls are waking up, the girls had that conversation when they were talking about Kuzie, Anika, and Vanessa. They really only included Kuzie as someone that they knew that they had. Mm-hmm. The girls don't see Anika as someone that they can bring in because they think that she's more loyal to the guys, and she's presenting as such because I think she knows the guys are in majority. Yeah. But even though she does that, she's doing that through Ty. She told Ty recently that she feels like Zach is someone that they have to watch out for. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a bigger problem because when Ty retold that conversation to Zach, he made it seem like Anika wasn't targeting him, which, she kind of said as well, but she did throw that out there. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you're aware, but it's like, girl, why you tell that to Ty? You know, so it's like, even in the conversation she was having with Daniel was trying to tell her, like, okay, this is what we need to do. Make sure the house is split, get us an alliance, get us a group. She's kind of shooting down all his arguments, like trying to teach Daniel, the super fan, how to play. She had to see Dan there one season. Yeah. So it's just like, I don't want her to get ahead of herself and think, okay, I got it. And it's like, no, because her reads, like, some is like slightly there, but she is not fully aware of how complex the game can be or how it's gonna get, and I just think that is what's gonna keep being her hindrance. Because even some of her targets, I'm just like, girl, what?
And it's weird because she's so unique. I haven't seen a player like her in recent times because she's smart. She knows Zach gotta go. She knows Zach is a problem. She knows the boys are a problem. She even said she knows Zach and Ty are together. Yeah.
She said, who do you think is running it? She said Zach and Ty. So she's aware, but like I said, she goes to Ty
and then tells him. Yeah, so it's like, it's interesting because like she's one of the few players who I've seen be aware to some capacity, but also not really know the game and kind of play it wrong. So it's like, it's interesting. Maybe she's the type who can learn over time because it's still been 2 weeks. And that's the thing. We even seen on the edit, she was not doing anything. And then on edit, she had a diary room and she's like, I need to start playing this game. People are playing this game. Yeah. And then after that, we see her in conversations with people, whether she's saying things correct or not, she started talking. So it's like, is Anika someone who can learn over time to be a good player or even a decent player? I feel like she's one of the more promising people to learn. Like Dan, he don't know shit and he doesn't seem like he's gonna learn shit. Yeah. But Anika, she seems like maybe in 3 weeks, maybe she'll start saying some smart shit. So I got my
home. As you go more into the game, there's less and less numbers. Like it's like things start to open up a lot more. I mean, she just doesn't have the full game board because she's, not in all of the necessary conversations, but a lot of that is to do with her own social game, which is not that well. A lot of people do not feel connected to Anika. She can be an easy pawn because she's already been pawned, and like Carol mentioned, I think she could be an easy double eviction, instant eviction, triple eviction. Like random, she can just easily like bloop. But I also see a potential Betty path for her. I do.
Okay,
I see a Betty path for Anika. I do. She could kind of be in this pawn position. She gets her reins. She win a comp or two.
Betty was someone who learned throughout the game too. Betty was someone who started off at the beginning. She was like, "Girl, who watches the?"
She had a good basic instinct. And I feel like a lot of similarities in that, like a great basic instinct, and they grew over time. Yeah. And I can see that for Anika, but it depends because it's shaky right now.
Yes. How you feel about Claudia?
Claudia, I really like Claudia. You know, Claudia, she jumped up in the game. You know, she said, episode 1, these niggas gotta go. Exactly like that. She said, these niggas gotta go.
Why do you keep doing this? She didn't say that. Y'all, he's trying to set her up. Oh my God.
But, and you know, and I was scared because she was one of the girls that mentioned, you know, she kind of wants a Strong Girls Alliance, you know, but those girls, they get into a showmance and it just kind of goes out of the window. And it gave very much, Claudia gonna be in the showmance. She wanted a man. She did. She came in here homegirl for one.
And then the men didn't want her. No shade.
Well, which man didn't want her?
None of them. That's why she's not with him.
She was tired right now.
The men wanted her. Men didn't want her. This is the thing. The whole Ty situation. I don't want her, y'all. And he said it to Santina. And he said it to Santina. I'm sorry. But no, Claudia ate it up. Because, keep going.
I was just like, I really like what Claudia's at in the game right now because she is in the showmance, faux-mance, whatever the fuck with Ty. So he is protecting her to a certain extent. She also has a good relationship with Renee, Shanaya, and Santina that she's really been building upon. It seems like she has pretty good connections with Rob, Jonathan. Like a lot of people really, really like her. But the start of the season was the core of the guys, and everything was a parachute outside of that. So there are really no alliances right now because even the guys have broken up. So there really isn't a clear path for her. Dan is the HOH. She does not have a connection with him. But we assume she's probably going to be safe through Ty because she has Ty, and Ty is in such a power position. You know, that's really, really good for her, and she has connections with the girls. So if another HOH, like I feel like a Daniel pop up out of nowhere, I think she will be safe. And she's also very aware. Like even though she's with Ty, she knows that Ty is working with Zach, and she does not trust Zach at all. Mm-hmm. You know, even in the conversation with Shanaya, she's like, you know, whatever Dan does, it'll probably be Zach, and that's good read. And same with Santina. She realized that. She told John Michael it seems like Santina just wants to get with the guys, and so like Zach has had a lot of control. So she has been very aware while still playing really aloof, which I think is really good for her. I
agree. I don't know. Girl, let me see what you give her.
I think honestly I'm gonna give Claudia a 6.
Okay.
Because I'm just thinking like, no, I don't think anyone's targeting Claudia anytime soon at all. She has so many buffers, you know what I mean? And she has so many options. She has the girl, she has Ty. I mean, I don't really see where, if someone's in power, they're going to put up Claudia. The big issue is everyone knows that Claudia, Renee, and Shanaya are a 3 because they keep saying it to everybody. When she had a conversation with Ty, he asked her about a girl's alliance because he watched them all have that conversation that day. She did not deflect well at all. He clocked her and said she got pretty aggressive because she did get defensive as hell. So I think that's a problem. However, when I mentioned buffers, I think Renee and Shanaya are pretty easy buffers in front of her. I think Claudia stays. As long as Ty stays in power. If Ty is no longer the power player in the house, like let's say this Rob thing does not work out, Zach somehow goes before and it flips, she could be in a little bit more danger. But like I said, she also has the girls. And then so it's like,
I think Claudia's in a good position. Like, honestly, it's weird because I don't know. Claudia's just new for me. Like, I don't really know how to perceive her because I was not expecting what she gave at all. And then she started giving it. She does have the connection with Jonathan, and then she also has the connection with Ty. The connection with Ty is on both ends, very game oriented. It's barely even a showmance. It's like they both are using each other for the game and both kind of know it, which is very weird because I don't know, it's just weird. But she does still have Ty, and then like you said, she has the girls, and they are buffers for her. But I don't know, something about it. It just she doesn't. You know what it is? It's the game is too busted wide open. There's no security in none of these players. None of these players have a sense of like have a real secure thing. She doesn't have an alliance. She doesn't have an alliance. She's not in a group necessarily. It's like a vague girls thing that they're all agreeing on. But I can never trust that. We've seen the history. So I don't know. So I think I'll also give her the 6. I think she's playing well. I think she's done pretty good at not seeming threatening to everybody else, but still saying the right things, thinking the right things in general. I think there's no one who's going to target her soon, like you said. I don't think she's going to come up as a threat soon. I can see it in the future, but we're not in the future. We're in the present. So I think she's doing good. She's doing good. I wish we had more information. I want to know how the girls' thing got together because I'm just imagining like that could have been pushed by Claudia, and if it was, I want to give her a little higher rating, but we don't know. So I'm gonna just leave it at the 6. Next we have Daniel C. Daniel C is another interesting one.
We haven't got him a lot in the digital daily.
We have not got him a lot in digital dailies, and not even on episodes that much either. Very simple things we've seen. It seems like he has good relationships with Anika and Kuzie. It seems like he had a good relationship with JM, but JM's gone. It seems like he has a great understanding of where the guys stand in terms that he knows Zach is running it. And it's interesting to know that because we saw when he had a conversation, it was with the Zach. And he basically had the boys and Zach thinking that Daniel's someone who can do work for them. So it's like clearly he knew where to go when he needed to move. We saw him pitch this idea to Anika that there needs to be a group formed between kind of basically the stragglers. So he is aware that he needs to do that, but he hasn't done it. And he kind of, from what we've seen, because we don't see it enough, we've only seen him pitch it to Anika. And we only really seen him talk about it to mostly Anika, and then loosely, very, very loosely other people. And it's like, okay, you didn't form that group. So that's kind of scary. But he still has a great game sense, I think. He knows when he needs to move and who he needs to say the right things to. I think he does all of that very well. I just don't see the path. I don't see a path for a lot of these people because of the situation that the game is in. But it's just hard for me to see where he can go from here. Other than that plan he had that Anika basically was like, girl, I'm not doing that. It's like, who are you going to do it with? He has good relationships with certain people, but I don't know his relationships with everybody other than those people. So that's why it's like, I don't know. So I think I'm going to give him, he's smart. I'm going to give him 5.5 because I just don't know that much. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
I mean, I said it before, like going into this season, like I felt like this just was not the best cast for Daniel at all. Because, you know, there's just a lot of alpha personalities and a lot of guys are just going to bro down. And I mean, people like him and someone like John Michael, who really got the butt end of that, you know, got slided because of it. And I feel like that's really what's happening here. Also, there's not these showmances. I mean, no one's with nobody right now. I mean, Shanaya and Rob were flirty. I heard she kissed Hope. And now her and Dan are flirty. We know Claudia with Ty, but I mean, he's kind of openly saying on the seas that he is not trying to get with her like that. I don't know how real that is though, because you know, and he Pisces, you know, we emotional child, so that's gonna be over in a few days. But I just think what I like about Daniel is that no one is saying his name right now. But same with Anika, it's just like I think it's gonna be easy for him to be seen as a pawn. But what I like about Daniel is that everything I can say about his game, he told Anika in that conversation. Like, we're the people that are on the outside. And at the end of the day, they're promising us this safety now. But as it goes, the numbers get smaller and smaller, they're going to turn in on us. Like, we're going to go up. So we have to start building. We have to try and split the house, or they're going to start turning in on us. And so, like you mentioned, he has a good understanding of what needs to happen. It's just he doesn't have the agency right now to make it happen. I don't know the path that he can take to make that happen right now. Like you said, the game is open. The game is very, very open. But with a Dan HOH, who's only been listening to Zach, it doesn't feel like it's going to happen this week, unfortunately. So it's just like he's kind of in a position where I feel like he does have to lay low, but he has a great understanding of where he's at in the game. From what we've seen in digital dailies and things like that, I'm going to just stick at a 5 with him. Because no one's saying his name, but I don't know how strong any of his connections are. Really, I don't. It seems like any of his allies can be associated with another large group or another person other than him, and that's good for him temporarily because I don't think a lot of people are going to say his name. I think Vanessa goes before him, Anika goes for him. I think a lot of people can go before him, but at some point he can go.
Yeah. And he needs to build a group. I think he needs to work faster than he is. Didn't Hope pitch to him the save John Michael thing. I felt like Daniel needs to harp on any option he has. And I think John Michael staying is something for someone particularly like Daniel would have been good for. The only other person it would have been I feel like great for would be Kuzie, but Kuzie doesn't need it. Kuzie's in a better position, in my opinion. Daniel and Anika needed JM to stay, in my opinion, to help their games a lot. And they didn't put in work for that. Anika didn't really know, but Daniel does know. He had the wherewithal. He knew that the stragglers needed together. He knew that
that would have been the move. Really,
I think that would have been the he's the best player in the game move. If Daniel put that energy in and actually made it work for John Michael to stay, I would be like, oh, he's by far probably going to win. And it scares me that he was offered a little bit kind of by Hope and he didn't go with that offer.
But see, that's the thing, though. I will say on that note, I don't fully trust that, only because Hope has mentioned, because we've seen from the TV edit a little bit, and then the little bit of digital dailies that, of course, Daniel has some type of relationship with Hope, and John Michael and Hope had a really close relationship. I think John Michael gave him something before he even left.
Yeah,
but it's really like Hope has also mentioned his loyalty is 100% to the guys. And they feel like they can run him to the ground. So I don't know if you can fully put all, your bet on Hope. And I think that's what he was thinking. Because the numbers, I mean, it would have had to been Shanaya, Claudia, Kuzie, himself, Vanessa, who he has said he doesn't talk to that much, which I guess is kind of on him. And then Hope as the sixth. And it's like, and they did them all on one specific person. It's like you have to get all the people who are not working together to get on the same page and vote one specific person. That's what JM said in the first place. Like it being three, even more difficult. So he got kind of screwed even more on that.
That's true. It's hard because it's like that's true, and I agree. But I think that was the move for a day.
It would have been the move. It would have.
I think that would have been the move, and it's like it sucks because now we're giving him 5 and 5.5. But it's like not even that he didn't succeed. I feel like he didn't even try. We don't know. We didn't see much, but I feel like he didn't attempt that hard at all. I think he was like, it doesn't look like it can happen. I'm just gonna shut up. And it's like I feel like there could have been more combos. We didn't see it all, but I think there could have been more combos with like a Kuzie. And that's the thing, he could have just had it, and we just didn't see it. So there's that too. But I don't know. How you feel about Dan, the new HOH?
The new HOH. Dan, from what we know in the daily, is damn near nothing. All we know is that he is up under Zach. He's someone that listens to Zach. Like, he takes Zach's advice because Zach gives a lot of advice. And Dan seems to be following it heavily. We know other relationships that he has a crush on Shanaya, apparently. But, I mean, we really don't know much. I mean, when he was going around campaigning, people like Anika, Kuzie, Daniel, they expressed how he didn't really offer much to them. He barely even went up to them. Or even tried to campaign. Even the women were like, I mean, Dan is not offering much, which is why we made it to save JM. Like, he really only has been talking to Zach from what we know, and we can assume that he probably feels like he's close with the other men because he's also a man. Yeah. So he was likely going to be out or continue to be pawned if he didn't win HOH. Apparently, he's very good at competitions because he was second in the veto and he won this HOH. So it's like he could be a comp beast. But there's not much going on up there at all. I don't know if it's the headphones from DJing, it's the loud bass. I don't know, but not much is going on up there from what we've seen. So we can assume that this HOH is going to be ran by Zach, but he has the HOH. So that's a positive. Mm-hmm. I'll say because he has the HOH, it's a 4.5.
Okay.
But if we knew more about what he's going to do with the HOH, maybe. But all I know, it would have been a 4 or less because I don't think he's doing better than Anika. But the fact that he has HOH now, it's like, well, he's staying.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3 for me. I feel like he is not a good player in any regard. He has 0 relationships. The only relationship he has is, and that's the thing, I don't want to call the thing with him and Zach a relationship. It's not a relationship.
It's Zach running him to the ground.
It's not reciprocal. It's Zach running him. So he has Zach running him. That's it.
But you know what I see? You know what I see?
That's all.
You know what I see? Turner.
I don't even see Turner.
I see a Turner passing.
He's not likable like Turner. People like Turner. But people like
Turner. You're right.
Turner had a likability to him. No one likes Dan. Actually, people don't like Dan.
Yeah.
And that's bad for him. People don't like him. He's the HOH and no one is comfortable with him. No one knows what he's going to do. He has no allies.
All I know is Zach is running it.
He only has Zach running him. And if he does what Zach wants, it's going to be a bad move for him because anything not his own move is a bad move for him. So it's going to be a 3. I don't have many hopes from him. Even if he can win every comp to the end of his season, he's still going to lose.
I don't know.
What was that, karma?
Karma.
Shut up before he wins. Then we have Hope. Hope is an interesting one because Hope has relationships with people who I didn't even know he did. He had a relationship with John Michael, which is very
close. A very close relationship.
He also clearly has a relationship with Daniel. He has relationships with the people in the Pelican Room that we kind of have noticed is stronger than we might have thought. Hope has these side things, and he also has relationships with the boys. Some of the boys aren't too fond of him, like Rob. mentioned some things. He kind of keeps shading him randomly. So he doesn't have the best regard with Rob. Some of the people have this weird thing from him whenever he had that situation. Santina's like, So it's like he has vague relationships with them, but he still has strong relationships, or at least medium relationships with other people. So he's in a decent position socially wise, I think. Strategically wise, he, no shade, but unlike what we saw from Daniel, he did suggest let's try to save JM to a lot of people, even the boys. He was like, I mean, you sure? You sure you don't want to do that? And it's like, it shows that he's going to try to save people who are good for his game. It's weird because I don't think he was thinking, this is better for my game, I need to save JM. I think he was thinking, I like JM, I want him to stay. But it doesn't matter because it's still helping people who are close to him, regardless of what he's thinking. And that's good because he's going to be active. Exactly. And I like that he's going to be active in that regard, but he still doesn't necessarily know the game, I don't think. But we got a scene from him on the episode where the girls were whispering and they noticed the guys were watching and they started giggling. And Hope was like, they think they slick. We not dumb. And it's like, there's always this thing. I'm going to just say it because we black. When it comes to a black player, there's always going to be this. It don't matter what category. Because
Big Brother's a social game.
Hope is kind of like a Dan category of a player, but he's just nothing like Dan. He's way more advanced, in my opinion. Like, even for his archetype. And it's like, that eats. Because it's like, usually a Hope would be, oh, he ain't got nothing going on. He's just going to get ran. I can't say Hope is going to get ran. I can't say Hope's going to win HOH and Zach's going to convince him to just nominate Daniel. I don't think he would ever nominate Daniel. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I can't say that for a lot of other players who I guess might fit in this kind of character archetype. So I'm going to give Hope, damn. Because I also don't see him necessarily highly. I don't necessarily think he's doing enough at all. He's not in an alliance. He's not even in the boys thing. He's only a side character to it. So I'm going to give him 4.5.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him 4.5. And we're going to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Hope is very similar to Anika in the way of they have to learn the game as they go along. So, like, their initial instinct is good, but they don't have the strategic forethought to be able to understand the complexity of Big Brother. They just don't. Because, like, that was his initial instinct. I want to save John Michael because he's my friend. And it's like, that basically is Big Brother. Save the person that's closest to you because they're going to keep you safe. But I think the fact that he went with the guys and still voting him out, and it did seem like when he was at least speaking with the guys, that he was always just going to go vote out John Michael. He was kind of playing in John Michael's face. So I don't really know. And that's my issue. It's like he could be, pushed out of the direction from his initial instinct by better strategic players like a Zach, like a Ty, because he feels like he needs them in the game. Similar to Anika's kind of strategy. She feels like she has to work closely with the men as a reaction of what happens. Same with Santina. It's like it's the initial instinct. And I feel like he's also feeling like these guys are going to get me far. These are my bros. These are my brothers. And they're still going to get me far. Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't have that, he has nothing. And I don't see him abandoning that for a Daniel. And that's the problem. But the thing is, the group is breaking up. Rob is potentially the target. Jonathan does not like him at all. So it's like he's in a weird position to where none of the guys like him, but they're not targeting him. Mm-hmm. And the other women, I mean, I just don't see them going after him necessarily over some of the other people like a Zach.
Or Dan. Or Dan's not HOH.
Or even a Rob. You know what I mean? And I think he has enough connections with some of the other outsiders, like a Kuzie, a Vanessa, a little bit, a Daniel, a Anika, to where maybe he'll be safe in a lot of positions. Like if the guys alliance fail, I feel like he could get into some form of a backup. But I don't know what's been happening this past 2 weeks, but apparently he has pissed a lot of people off. Like I said, Jonathan does not like him for some recent event. Rob never really liked him like that. Ty and Zach don't necessarily like him. Santina feels weird. Rob said he had a situation with Shanaya and Renee. So I don't really know. It's just when people are mentioning Target, I feel like a lot of people are not mentioning his name. Like Rob tried to push it to Kuzie. It didn't really go anywhere. So I'm gonna say it's a 5. Okay. I think because of a lot of natural things, like he's a young athletic male. That's why even though him and Anika are on the same level, they don't know the game. He was able to get into initial alliance and initial strategic position because of his natural attributes. But I think that is something that's gonna keep him safe just long enough. It's on him to, start really putting his foot into it. Because I can see him being a better player. I can see him learning the game and picking it up and making power moves. But I can also see the other part of that, him just being ran the entire time, so they don't need him no more. So depends.
Okay, it's getting interesting. I like this next one, Jonathan. How you feel about Jonathan Lee? Period.
Jonathan, I think is doing really, really good. I right now in the house, he was part of the initial Guys Alliance, and all of the guys in the Guys Alliance love him the most. I mean, he's the opposite of Hope. No one in the Guys Alliance like Hope, and everyone loves Jonathan. Like Zach and Ty are close, and they're including him in their three. Rob includes him in his close three, which was Ty and Jonathan. He is trying to build a two with Zach, and Zach is kind of, feeding into that, but that's going to just bring him closer to him and Ty. Outside of the Guys Alliance, almost everyone thinks he's a vote. Even when
Daniel and Anika talk about votes.
Yeah, Daniel, Anika, Kuzie, and when they discuss votes, they included Jonathan. When Shanaya and Renee discuss people who could be on their side, they discuss Jonathan, because in every conversation Jonathan has, he is really nice. He's really sweet. He talks about his personal life. They think he's just a really nice man. And then strategically, he's like, I'll look out for you. I mean, playing in these bitches' face, like just easily. They're like, Jonathan, I mean, I don't really know. Like, what do you think? He's like, I mean, I think we all have each other back, and we're just and it's the Newfies. Newfies are just very nice and social, and so he's in this position where he's a fan, so he's playing this strategic game. He's in this Guys Alliance, but socially, everyone loves him. Like he's just a regular old Newfie, a dad with his, he has a story behind him. I think that he is in probably one of the best positions strategically, but I think he's a really passive player. And we've seen with passive players in the past, they get in the position, like a Josh from BB Can 10, where they're in a position where they have a lot of power, but what do you do with that power? He has a lot of information, a lot of conflicting information. He knows Rob doesn't like Zach. He knows Zach and Ty don't like Rob. He knows every angle of this house. But is he doing anything with it? No. However, it's week 1. I'm not going to judge him too much on that. I'm going to say it's a 7, honestly, because I feel like no one is touching Jonathan. I think you can pencil Jonathan into final 2 right now. And honestly, the thing about Jonathin is I don't think he has to get active.
I was just gonna say that.
And look, that's
what I was gonna say.
He wins.
In this particular season, I don't think because the season is not structured in a way where you need to make shit move. He don't gotta make shit shaking on his own. Ty's targeting Rob is targeting Zach is targeting Dan, and Dan is HOA.
So if he just chills and let all of that go through,
he can win the game.
He can win the game because
he can do what Josh did and win the game this season. I think I'm gonna give Jonathan an 8. I do think he is in the best position by kind of a small little gap, in my opinion. I think he's in the best position because he has the solid guys thing. All of the guys want to work with him. All of the people outside of the guys want to work with him. Everyone feels comfortable with Jonathan. When people are talking about bringing him into things, they're including Jonathan. Claudia has a very close relationship with Jonathan. Claudia is a very good segue to the girls. If the girls get power, Claudia's going to be like, we're not putting up Jonathan. And they're going to be like, we sure not. So I think because he has arguably the most strategic girl in that main group, other than Kuzie, that's perfect. Because his connection, his number 1 is Claudia. That's way better than it being Shanaya or it being Renee. No shade. Because Claudia's the most, I feel like, active girl. So if the girls get power, he's real good. If the boys get power, he's real good. I think right now he's in a great position. I think he's holding the information correctly. I think it's good that he's not just spreading it around. But like you said, I don't know how active he can get, but it's so early that I can't necessarily say that he won't be.
He needs to be.
Or that he needs to be.
Like
just yet. I know he's a
like
fan.
It's going to be the season where you have to do all of that. I mean, especially,
I agree.
With these last few seasons, the jury has been voting majority with each other. And we've seen with some of the more strategic ones that they make decisions that I feel like are outside of the box. Yeah. I think Jonathan is a cookie cutter ABC Big Brother 101 winner. And this feels like the cast that'll give him the win. It honestly does.
It does.
I really don't know who he was sitting next to at this point that would beat him, honestly. But it's just week 1, so
it's still week 1. So we'll see. But I like his position. Honestly, I really like it. Next we have Kuzie. Mother, Big Daddy K. Now, other than Jonathan, Kuzie is the next best person I think is playing the game. We learned week 1 that she had information that we did not know she had. We thought only the boys knew what was going on. The boys and Santina.
The boys and Santina.
The boys, Santina, and Kuzie. Bitch. And that really brought me high on her. And then we see the boys have conversation. There was conversation between Rob. Well, first there was conversation between Rob and Jonathan, where they both agreed Kuzie is someone they want to take deep in this game.
Yep.
What? Then we see Rob intentionally pull Kuzie aside to try to make plans for the upcoming weeks. He's telling Kuzie, he's like, I don't know how I feel about Hope. How do you feel about Hope? He's telling, and then he's telling Kuzie, he's like, the Zach situation, it might need to be dead. He's literally telling Kuzie essentially a big part of his game, that he's targeting Zach, that he doesn't trust Hope, that he feels like he needs to move this way. We probably don't need to take them out now, but when do we need to take them out? He's talking to Kuzie like that's his ally, and that's been his ally. Talking about we's and us's. And it's like, what? I didn't know that. But he has a really close relationship with Kuzie, clearly. And that is something which is why if Rob does end up going, I might have to bring Kuzie, I don't know how I'm going to feel about it, because Rob is someone who I think is Kuzie's like, ooh, I kind of need this. This is a really good outside of this group of people person that I have, because you can arguably say that Ty and Daniel and Anika are all in a similar group of people. She kind of needs someone outside of that, and the girls aren't necessarily close to Kuzie in that way. Rob is someone who is really good for her in that way, but that's getting ahead. So I think it showed that throughout this last week, she played very, very well. Everyone kind of feels good with her, similar to Jonathan. Everyone is willing to include Kuzie, but with her, it's more of a we're willing to, not that we are. With Jonathan, it's like we'll include him, but with her, it's more like we can, and I don't mind. And that's the only thing that's like a little bit different. But at this point in the game, everything busted wide open. If the people need to make an alliance, I can't tell you Kuzie won't be in all of them. Because if there's ever a group made, I do think Kuzie and Jonathan, honestly, are going to be in it. So that's what is going to be interesting. But right now, it's still early. She doesn't have a solid group. She's still not in the boys thing. She's not a boy. And she's not even in the girls thing necessarily. Yeah. It's more so those 4 girls. So that's why I'm going to give her a 7, and then we'll see how we rock from there.
Yeah. Boom. Yeah, I think, and that's really my big fear with Kuzie is just that she's doing really, really good socially, but she's more so just close affiliates to every alliance, or not every alliance. There are no real alliances, but every group or cluster that's in the house, because the overall guys thing, which is the Zach, Ty, Jonathan, Hope, Rob, she is a part of that. When all of them speak to her, they all speak to her as if she's a part of this larger group that kind of includes Santina, that also includes her, that kind of includes Anika. Like when Rob was having that conversation with her, they were speaking as if, Hope doing certain things could affect our group. Yeah. So there is some form of group that she's included in that conglomerate. And then when you go lower into that, when you take Ty and Zach, she's also in that, because Ty sees her as his secret number 1. She has Anika. She's kind of connected through Zach with Ty. She has those deep conversations with them as well. So it's just that she has those good connections. And then she also has the girls who are like, we don't know about Anika and Vanessa, but we know Kuzie's a girl's girl. We know Kuzie's going to really work with us. Because we even saw in the episode when it was all the girls talking, Kuzie was there with John Michael when he was campaigning to them. They were like with a savage sister. So that's all really good. But like my biggest issue is that no one is fully bringing her into things. Yeah. And we have Dan, who is the HOH, so she's actively talked about several times. She has not made a connection with. And, with us knowing that he's HOH, I feel like him being the HOH is only prevalent in a few people's scores. And I think Kuzie is one of them, because Dan has a small, he hasn't talked to many people, but it's a small group of people that he has zero connection with at all. Like no affiliate connection, anything like that. And that would be Anika, Daniel, Kuzie, Renee, you can kind of put in that. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to kind of will her other connections keep her safe? I think it doesn't matter. I think if Kuzie is nominated, she is staying because she has that many good connections. It's just right now with Dan as the HOH, I don't feel like she can capitalize on the position that she was put in too. You know what I mean? I think this may be a harder week to be able to do that.
I see that.
So I feel like I'm gonna say it's a 6.5. I feel like, and I'm gonna say 6.5 because one, like I said, even if she is nominated, I think she's not her way out of it. And then just based on the way she speaks with people, like when people are speaking to her, like it's like they have been allies with her since day one. You know, even though she isn't fully into these groups, when people are having these strategic conversations, like they really get into it, and it's like she's able to make people open up. I feel like their entire games by just going through it. It's like it's a therapy session. She's like, so who do you not trust? And they'll be like, well, you know, I don't know how I'm feeling about this person. She's like, okay, so how do we set it up together?
Yes,
they're the person.
Literally,
and they're like, well, I mean, I feel like I would have to try to make this connection. So do you think that if
that person will connect?
And they'd be like, well, I don't know, because and then, like, this person is telling her how they see the game. They're giving her the whole layout of how they see the game. And what I've also noticed is that they're having conversations with her, and even if they see her close with Anika, they see her close with Daniel. It's like, we know you're close with them, but we'll still talk about them in front of you. It's like, that's what I've noticed. Like, they are seeing that she's kind of around everyone, but it seems like everyone is kind of okay with it. Yeah. So I think I said, regardless, I think she'll be cool this week. And from what we've seen this week, I mean, she really ate it up socially. Like, I think she has the potential to really get towards the end
to win
this game. So I'm excited to see more of Kuzie. I'm mad that we haven't got her 24/7, but Mother is coming.
Period. Now I'm scared for Renee. I'm not gonna lie. How you feel about Renee though?
Renee, I just feel like, like it's really bad for her. It's really bad for her because, you know, she got the dead last twist, so she was automatically nominated. It's really hard when you're automatically nominated. You know, I think Taylor and Kevin are the first people to be the first nominee on the eviction day and also go on to win the game. Yeah, that was the first two people years after Big Brother had started. So it's like, you know, it's really hard.
But it did happen back to back. Maybe back to back to back. Hopefully not.
So right,
because Kuzie needs to win.
Or that would mean Dan or Renee wins. Ew, no. But no, Renee, it's like, you know, once you're in that dead last, once you're nominated, people are not going to approach you because you're already in jeopardy. You're already in a shopping block. That's someone, well, we don't want to work with her. So her main connections in the game, Shanaya, Claudia, for obvious reasons, honestly. But they're her closest connections in the game. You know, she tried the showman's route, but it didn't work out. I'm honestly shocked. I thought she would be really easily into the showman's, but that did not happen.
That was honestly didn't get a showman's.
And that's honestly terrible for Renee because that would have been her safety cloak. Like, I think because Shanaya has this connection with Dan, that's probably going to grow into something, especially this week, because I know my sister wants that safety. That helps her. Claudia with Ty, that helps her. Renee does not have that person that is watching out for her, trying to protect her, wanting to keep her into the game. It felt like it was Ty at first, but he dropped her for Claudia. And you know what sucks? What sucks about that is she's being associated with a big boy, and she might get taken out because of her associating with Rob, and they're not even together. Exactly. And it's like, that would suck. Exactly. Because you not even she got an initial. She was almost the target this week just by telling Zach, sell it to John Michael. I see you niggas. So it's like people are speaking on her as if she's very smart. And I think that is just the problem because she's someone who really, I don't think is one of the bigger threats out of the women, but because of the things that happened during week one, I think she could be one of the first ones to go. She's going to be the easiest one to put up. Like this week, I can definitely see if Zach is in power, put up Renee and Rob. Yep. And if Rob can't go, they've been saying this. If we can't take out Rob, we need to take out Renee or Shanae. But Renee first. Renee first. And it's like, damn. And the issue with Renee is that, you know, in that situation, that's the thing. Even if she's next to a Rob, it's not necessarily that she's going home because there's so many connections. There's not necessarily that she's staying because there's so many connections that she doesn't have. Like, she is not that close with Kuzie. She's not that close with Anika. She's not that close with Daniel. Vanessa. Like, there are a lot of people who would probably send her home regardless. I mean, Anika was literally talking about targeting her. So, socially, she's just not set up that well. I'm going to say it's a 4. Ooh. I'm going to say it's a 4. I think she's in much danger as Anika could be. I think either one of them could be nominated and sent home this week. So, we'll see where we go from here. I don't know where her longevity is at all. I don't know. Yeah.
I agree with the 4. I don't think she's in a good position at all. The only reason I would honestly put her below Anika, the only reason I'm not is because of the girls thing. She is in that girls thing. She was speaking a lot when she was there.
She was.
It was Renee speaking a lot to Claudia, to Shanaya, to Santina about we need to get together. We need to do this. Y'all pretend y'all laughing right now. And they did. It's like, okay. So she was doing a lot in that regard. So that's one of the things that is protecting her in a sense. Because if she do get on the block, I do think those girls gonna go to work. Like they might be idle and cute right now, but Claudia
see, that's also the problem.
Ooh.
The whole house know they're in 3. And
that's another thing. Everybody knows that's a thing.
And they go around saying it.
Everybody knows.
Ty asked her. Ty was like, "So who would you put up?" This is after the conversation she had with Claudia when he asked her about the girls' alliance, and she terribly denied it. He's talking to Claudia, and she's like, "Who would you put up?" She said, "Well, I would not put up Shanaya and Claudia." Girl, he said, "Who would you put up?"
Not who you would not
answer the question because now you just told them everyone you're aligned with, and it's like that is an easy target. And I remember telling you off the podcast, I think the 3 of them, especially with Santina, they could be a dangerous little quartet, little trio, if they're able to stick together and get the jury together. Because that's a voting block. However, is anyone going to let them? Because they're
one of them gotta go.
Everyone
one of them gotta
go. Grouping them together.
Yeah,
and
it sucks
because
this week is going to be ran by Zach most likely. Zach's second target is Renee. After Rob, from what we've seen, it's Renee. So it's like, girl, you could be in danger because Rob can win that veto real quick, real bad. You don't never know. So it's like, that's scary, babes. So I don't know. It's going to be a 4 for me. We'll see how it goes. I don't know who's going home this week. It's going to be an interesting week. We'll see if Zach just going to run. If Zach just running, then it's going to be boring, but we'll see.
I think that's the even if Zach wins, it's not going to be boring because
that's true.
The developments that's not even place. The developments that's going to take place, the shifting of things, it's going to be good.
Yeah. Next we have Rob, who is likely the target this week, damn near.
Big Daddy.
It's weird because usually we wouldn't know who's HOH. So before knowing who's HOH, Rob was still in hot water, but now he's in hot. Oh, we got it.
So it's like, do we rank him based on him potentially being the target? I mean, I don't know.
Because I think it's very likely Rob can go home. It's very likely he might even get backdoored and not even see it coming. And it's like, that's even worse. And he was already in a bad position, let's be honest, because the boys were turning on him. Ty and Zach been wanting this boy out. And Ty and Zach have had a lot of control in this game already. And now they're going to have more this week because of Dan is HOH. I feel like because of the opposition to Zach and Ty being a little more passive players, there's not going to be enough, momentum to save Rob. If there was an idea that maybe we don't need Rob to go for us, they're not going to do nothing about it. I don't think they'll do anything about it. I think they'll see Zach and Ty pushing it and be like, well, the whole house wants it. And it's like, that's not true. It's really only Zach, literally goddamn near only Zach.
It probably will only be Zach.
And it's like, I feel like because Zach and Ty's energy exudes the house, people might think, well, that's the whole house. Yeah. Everybody wants Rob out. We just got to vote him. And it's like, really, Renee don't want it. Santina don't want it. Shanaya don't want it. Claudia don't want it. Daniel Loki don't want it. Kuzie's besties with him. And it's like, that's 6 right there. And all they need is 5. And it's like, they're probably still going to vote him out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, I think it could be really, really bad for him if he's on that block as a final nominee. And I think it's likely he will be. Dan don't got no connection to him. He don't give a fuck about him. And the issue is he knows he might go up, but I don't think Rob's going to prevent that. If I was Rob last night, I would have went to Dan. I would be like, girl, I think we need to be final 2. We were the last 2 in that comp. We need to be final 2 right now. People are going to try to target us. People are going to try to get us to go against each other. We need to stop that. And if he would have did that, I think he could have stayed. If he would have told Dan, people are going to try to pit us against each other because we were the best in that comp. We cannot take each other out. I think Dan would have been like, he's right. As soon as Zach brought it to him, he was like, ooh, Rob just told me this was going to happen. He could have deaded it because he knows he's a target. He told Kuzie, if Dan wins HOH, Zach will get him to nominate me, I think. What is he doing? Last night, we should have saw him on Dan's ass.
Yeah.
There should have been not
That's probably why he got emotional when Dan won. Because
he cried because he was going home. He cried instead of getting to work. Get to work, baby.
Yeah.
So I don't know, y'all. It's gonna have to be honestly, y'all. It's gonna have to be a 3 for me. It's gonna be a 3 for me. 3 Dan, 3 Rob. I'm sorry.
I think it's a 4 for me on Rob. I think it's a 4 for me on Rob only because I think basically he's in the same amount of danger as Anika and Renee. But I do think initially he was also in a really good position. Like I kind of feel bad for him because Ty and Zach turning on him, I mean, it's not anything he's doing. Like, Rob is not actively doing what they think he's doing. Like, Ty, this all started because Ty said that he feels like Rob is trying to get other people's persons. He's trying to get other people's parachutes because he had Shanae Renee. He said he felt like he's trying to get Santina. He felt like he's trying to get Claudia. Rob also opened his mouth about not trusting Zach, which is great initial instincts. I don't think you should trust Zach. I don't think Zach is someone you should want to work with. And he told Ty that information. That's good information for Ty. That's great for him. And Ty went back and told Zach, and that's when the whole thing started. What?
Here's my issue. Rob, this is my thing. And
I don't know the whole thing to say. Dang, I'm gonna forget my thought. It's okay.
It's okay. I'm sorry. You can go. Finish.
It's gone now. It's gone.
Damn. Okay. This is my thing. I'm so sorry. Rob, the issue that I have with the gameplay that he had last week is he chose to just work with boys because they're boys. Whole time he hated Zach. Why the fuck did you choose to work with him?
Yeah.
You could have made an alliance with Renee, Shanaya, Ty. Y'all could have been a 4. Y'all could have had Kuzie or somebody. You trust, to my knowledge, Renee, Shanaya, Ty, and Kuzie. Why was that not the alliance? Why was that not the alliance?
However, I will say you never know if that's not what he was going to plan to do. Because
that's too late. Why plan when you could have did it?
Listen. Damn. Because if he told Ty that information, he had already been working on Renee, Shanaya, and things like that. I mean, that could have been the plan, but it was very clear when it got brought up, Ty was not down with it. Ty immediately told Zach, and they kind of just stayed in this all guys thing. I don't really think especially because Zach was running Santina, I don't really think he had no up. He really couldn't split that much from Zach. He honestly couldn't. But him telling Ty the information tells me that he was aware, and that was something that could have been dealt with. But Ty did not let that happen. Ty is 100% way more loyal to Zach. And that's where this split kind of came from. And he is unaware of it. And I think that's the problem. I feel like Rob as a player could be working out of this position or still be in a good position if he knew what they were doing this whole time. It's all because he does not know and he's unaware. I feel like if he is nominated and stuff like that, I think he has enough connections to where he possibly could stay, depending on who he's next to. Like if Anika, I mean, Anika can go. Vanessa could go. Like it's very possible because Rob is someone that people would think they probably can use. Like you mentioned earlier, Kuzie. I can see Kuzie seeing Rob as someone that she could use rather than Anika, low-key, if Anika's on the block. Because she even mentioned that in the game. Yeah. So I feel like he does have the ability to get out of this position, but he's still in danger, girl, so it's a 4.
Yeah. I don't know. It's real interesting. I guess we'll see how it goes with Rob. It would low-key suck for him to go home because, like, oh, you were like a character in the game. Like, you were a active person, but it's like, hey, oh, well. Next we have this Santina girl.
Ciao.
Lee, how you feel about Santina?
Well, it's given third 4 in a row. Yeah, definitely my third 4 in a row. Because even though she was the HOH, I mean, this was a terrible HOH. I mean, she got ran to the ground. Even she admitted it. I'm not saying anything that she doesn't know her damn self. Immediately after the target went up for the back door, she was like, I think they ran me. Y'all, I think they ran me. And they did. To the ground. It was terrible. However, she is not in that much of a bad position. Even though Dan is the HOH, I feel like she's one of those persons. If she gets nominated, she won't necessarily go home because the girls think that they need her, and then the guys feel like she's still under their spell. You know what I mean? Because she nominated Dan, it's a good chance that she will go up, but I don't think she's necessarily a target. But the issue is. The main issue is that her HOH got ran. She was susceptible to that. And she gave me hope after a little bit because the fact that she was able to wake up to it, the fact that she realized what JM was saying, it's a positive thing. But you could also make the argument that the girl is easily swayed because after one conversation with JM, you was back on thinking that JM was your point. Like, girl, like, you gotta pick a side and stick with it. And socially, she's walking around the house. She's not making anyone feel like that they can fully trust her. She's just not socially making the bond she needs to make, and I think that's going to catch up to her. However, I do feel like she can last for a while. I don't think she'll necessarily go anytime soon. I felt like at first, maybe, but it seems like because everyone is focused on what the guys doing, a lot of people are very aware of what the men are doing. Santina, she kind of is going out unscathed. They're kind of looking at her like a little damaged puppy. Like, come on, girl, it's okay.
Yeah,
like
you got play. It's okay,
cool, girl. Like, come on back home. We got you. And I think that she's someone that can probably win more competitions in the future, which is going to be very beneficial. So I think she'll be able to, get past this week. And if she get past this week, I think she'll be good. I really don't see anyone putting her up after Dan.
Yeah.
So
honestly, y'all, like, it's weird because I picked her initially as one of my top winner picks. And then after HOH number 1, I was like, what's going on? This is real bad. But honestly, now that it's over, it's giving she could still win. And it's like, ooh, like, I can see a path. In this chaotic season, no structure at all, I can see her ending up winning the season still. Because she woke up. Like, she basically was like, girl, they ran me. And now she has the girls. Now she has this 4. That's kind of a thing. Like, those 3 women who are probably all going to be targets before her by everybody damn near. Literally almost everyone. Because those 3 are seen as a trio. She's not grouped in with them as much as she should be. The boys still think, like Lee said, that they're running her. So it's like, who gonna take her out? And it's like, if she gets towards the end game, I still don't see a reason. When is there going to be a reason to take Santina out? There's so many different variables, so many different people who aren't working with each other. So it's like, damn, I think she can make it far. But she got her HOH ran bad. She took out JM, who could have been a great ally for her. She could have some agency in the game, and she has no agency really in the game. She took out all her agency with her HOH. So now she's just sitting here. She's at the way of the water. Wherever the game goes, she has to
okay, Avatar.
she kind of has to go with. So I'm gonna give her a 4 too. I don't even think she might get nominated because I just genuinely feel like Zach is gonna run this HOH, which is why
and if Zach fully runs the HOH, I don't think she'll touch the block.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll see though. It's gonna be a weird path for Santina. Weird start. Probably a weird ending.
But we move. She said, this is the move.
And we move. Next, we have Shanaya. Now, Shanaya is one of those players who I think is actually intentional about the way that she plays, but through the screen, you can't tell. I feel like, me personally, through the screen, it looks like Shanaya is not doing shit, but I think in her mind, she's thinking more than we can see. We can't see her thoughts. So I think she's a little bit more intentional about not being too overbearing, not coming across as this much. She's one of the most social people in that group of people, I feel, of Claudia, Renee, and her, because I see her talking to Daniel. She's talking to Hope randomly. Yeah. So I think she's more social than it seems. And that's good, because people don't look at Shanaya and think she's just running with everyone. But she actually does have vague relationships with almost everyone in the house. There was a conversation where Daniel and I think Anika were talking about game, and it was vague game, but when Shanaya came in, they kept talking about it. Yeah. And they talked about it with her. And then it kind of grew into a slightly deeper game conversation that was like, okay, this is a little bit. Like, y'all talk for a while. Mm-hmm. So I feel like she has a little bit more intention than it might seem. However, we just don't see anything. Yeah. And that's the issue. It's like I can't really just base it off of that. So I have like a slight inkling that she's a little more intentional, but we don't get diary rooms for her because she's been irrelevant these first couple of weeks. And then we don't really see anything else. She was in on the girls' conversation. She clearly agreed with them, but she also didn't have a major input. But it's like, is that intentional? Did you just kind of just sit there on purpose? I don't know. So I'm going to give her, what am I going to give her? I don't think she's going home anytime soon either. I think Renee will go before her. I even think Claudia might go before Shanaya because of the perception of Claudia's attachment to Ty and Claudia's attachment to Jonathan. So I'll give her a 5, and then that's the move, and we move. Yeah. That's all.
I think I'll go with a 4.5 on Shanaya, just because like she was really, really out of the loop along with Renee in this first week. I mean, when speaking to people, like, it seemed like she was just very much okay with the the pillow talk the guys were basically giving her basically like, we got each other's back and we trust you guys. Like, they were very, very comfortable riding out with this group of that's not even a named alliance. And now what's happening, this group is splitting up, and she's on the wrong side of it because her connection to the group was with Rob. Mm-hmm. And so since Ty and Zach are kind of taking it, they kind of have more pull over Jonathan and Hope combined. I just think that it's a really bad for her because they are now seeing like a Renee, like a Shanaya as Rob's numbers. And now that Dan is the HOH and we can assume that Zach is going to have control, that is bad for Rob and people who are considered his people. I don't think Shanaya will touch the block this week, but if things keep going the way it's going and Zach and Ty are able to maintain some sort of control, I think that is, progressively worse for her. Mm-hmm. If there is some type of flip that's able to happen, or just things to sway a different position, like different type of people are being targeted, I think she'll be good. And I don't think she'll go home anytime soon It's just she was just way out of the loop. Way out of the
Mhm.
loop. And along with a lot of people here, because the game is so wide open, she doesn't have any other solid connection other than the three other girls, which is really good for her. And I think she's one of the safest one out of that group. So yeah, it's a 4.5.
Okay. Period. How you feel about that tie? Uh,
Daddy, I'm sorry. I like Ty. I don't.
I like Ty too. I don't know.
This is the first time, y'all. This is the first time I have not hated the like the broy men. I don't hate anyone in this cast. Maybe it's because of the feeds. Like, honestly, is this what they talking about?
Yeah.
I'm not toxic.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
They ate us up, maybe. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
But no, I honestly really, really like Ty. I think that he's way more strategically aware than I thought he was going to be coming into the game. I think he has a really good understanding of the game. I think he understands that he needs to keep his pawns, he needs to keep his parachutes. You know, he's someone that walks around the house solidifying his relationships throughout the day. And I think that's really good. The issue with Ty is his connection to Zach. A lot of people see Zach as a problem, and a lot of people know that Ty is very close with him. However, no one is really seeing Ty's name, and I think Zach 100% goes before Ty. And if he's able to get from under Zach, I think that's really good for him. But you know, if they're able to stay in the game with each other, then they're both going to just become that big threat. Like, he's going to keep being associated to him enough to where it's like, okay, Ty and Zach both got to go. And that's my fear for him, because he does seem, in my opinion, sometimes overconfident when he speaks. Like, he seems like, you know, he's the top dog. He's the one running shit. You know what I mean? Like, he's the one, you know, calling shots. And it is true to a certain extent, but you don't got to let everybody know that. I mean, his own showman questions him. So it's like, that's a problem. However, he has, I feel like, successfully, him and Zach together have, you know, put themselves in the center of the game. And unlike Zach, people don't dislike Ty. I think people are aware of kind of what he's doing, but people still want to work with him. Jonathan considers him an ally. Hope does. Kuzie, Anika, Daniel. No one is talking about targeting him, even though people know that he's one of the guys. Even Rob. And he is actively going after Rob. So for me, it's a 7 this week. I don't know how consistent this will be. I think he's someone that could ebb and flow throughout the game. I think depending on where it goes, because I do think this power position is temporary, because Zach is so unstable. And if he loses Zach, where does Ty go? I 100% believe he can pick up the pieces. It's just that if the blow is Zach, like if the shit happens to where Zach goes home, I'm assuming his entire power structure has upended, and that's bad for him.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But right now he's doing good. No one's saying his name, so it's 7.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that he's right after Shanaya, because I kind of have thoughts that coincide with each other. But first with Ty, I feel like he is one of the best players in this game. I feel like he clearly has the social prowess to make everyone feel good with him. When there's threes in the boys, he's in every 3 option for the boys.
Yeah.
He's in Rob's, Jonathan, and Zach's 3. He's the only one, well, him and Jonathan are the only 2 who are in that. And he also has very good connections outside of this boys situation. Him and
the best.
Daniel, him and Anika, him and Claudia, him and
Kuzie.
It's like he has all of these good connections outside of it. Even him and Vanessa have a weird, like, a relationship. So it's like he has these relationships outside of it. So if it goes to shit, then he's good. One of my things is that the Zach blow up thing, I think that's coming. And I can easily see if a girl, like, let's say next week, this is kind of why I gave Shanaya a 5 too. It's because I'm thinking Zach's finna go home. And I feel like if Zach goes home within these next 2 weeks, it shifts the game to where Ty is now a little bit in a lower position. Someone like Shanaya, if Renee's still here, is way in a more higher position. Just with Zach leaving, Zach is very important for Ty's game right now. And the faster he goes, I think the better for Ty low-key. Because if Zach's in this game for 3 more weeks and Ty's been with him this whole time, as soon as Zach gone, Ty can be gone next. And that's what's scary. But right now, I still think he played very well. He ran the fuck out of this first HOH. Him taking out Rob, which is probably going to happen this week, I don't think is the best idea. Because it takes away someone who can be a big alpha bro male target that isn't him. Rob had way less connections to Ty, so if a girl needed to take out a boy, it probably could have been Rob or Zach. Now it only can be Zach. If Zach's not available, who gotta go? You know, and that's when it starts getting scary, and that's why it's like, ooh, I don't know. But I don't think he's gonna go home necessarily against a lot of people in a nomination chair. So that's what's good. I'm gonna give him a 7 also. He's just in a very interesting spot for me. I think it's a dangerous spot, but I also think he's running the game. So it's like shit. Well, how dangerous can it be? I'm just scared for him. It's like it's so in front.
It feels like he's on borrowed time. It feels like he's on borrowed time because these guys, this thing like Pretty Boys was cracked and crazy, but they are no Pretty Boys because I mean. They blew up their entire spot this first week. It was bad. I mean, everyone knows they're working together. If you don't think they'll know they're working together, then you are not in the goddamn game. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Everyone knows. Everyone knows. Ask anybody. They know. And they know that Zach is the tip top of it. So it's just, and we all know who Zach right-hand man is. And like I said, that's my fear. If that's the thing, because it's not for certain that after Dan, that someone that is not in his power structure wins. I mean, if Santina wins again, I mean, it's not for certain that she can go after Zach. I mean, the girl has flip-flopped before. Ty could win it.
Renee can win it, who's mad at him a little bit. Renee can win and can't get out Zach, and she's like, well, one of y'all niggas gotta go. Yeah. So who's it gonna be? Because I think if a girl wins, they ain't putting up no girl. They're not putting up no girl. And if Shanaya and Dan are showmans, it's not gonna be Dan.
Well,
so who's it gonna be? Rob's gone. You took him out, Book.
Yep.
So it's like you might fuck yourself taking out Rob.
And that's another reason why they shouldn't take out Rob. That's why
you might fuck yourself.
This Rob thing is all from I guess the insecurity factor, just petty shit. I mean, the whole he trying to sun me because he joked about Claudia wearing the it's petty. It's petty and it's dumb. At the end of the day, because this is Big Brother 101 for I think someone playing the game that they're playing, the alpha bro, the people who could be a comp beast, because you need other people that can block you, be your shield, and that's what Rob could have been, and that's one shield that's out.
Yeah. Now, like I guess they still have hope. They still might have hope, but
they're way more obvious. They're way more open and obvious if Rob is gone.
Boom. Then we have Vanessa. Now,
Vanessa's funny.
Vanessa's. This is how I think about Vanessa. I think Vanessa needs to be playing the game harder than anybody else in the house because she's in the worst position. I feel like she needs to be having game conversations with damn near everybody, damn near 24/7. I'm telling you this earlier because the less conversation she has that's game, the easier it is for her to become more and more of an outcast. No one is feeling comfortable with her. Every time she walks in the room, game conversation stops. She's not bringing it up.
The conversation.
And when she does bring it up, it's awkward. She brings it up to to people who don't even. It's an energy shift. When she game talks to people she shouldn't be game talking to about people who she shouldn't be game talking about. So it's like she needs to learn to game talk with all the people you need to and way more often. And she's not doing that. She's kind of just sitting here. This is kind of what happens when it comes to like outcast players. And I noticed Taylor, winner, mother of BB24, when she was outcast, she did the opposite. She intentionally game talked with the people she knew she needed to at the right time. When Amira was in power, Taylor was talking to Amira 24/7 about game.
Taylor knew these bitches didn't like her.
And she knew they didn't like her. And she was like, Amira ain't listening to nothing I'm saying. But she still talked to her. And people who get outcast, they do what Vanessa does. And no one's talking to them. They're like, well, no one's talking to me. And then they try to talk to a random person like Hope or it's randomly Zach. And it's like, girl, why are you talking to Zach? If you don't go talk to someone who you can relate to a little bit, I don't know. And she's just not really doing it from what we've seen because we don't see everything. So I feel like she's not in a good position. I think she's easily someone who can just be a pawn, oops, you went home. Or even just a target. People just genuinely want to target her. And it's like, why are you targeting her?
That's the problem.
Like Zach, Zach might have Vanessa and Renee be the noms. And what if Rob win veto? Mm-hmm. Boom, you're out. Tag, you're it. Ooh.
I think that's the big problem. That's the biggest problem. Like, how are you being targeted, girl?
How are you being targeted? So I'm gonna have to give her. I gave Dan a 3. I have Rob a 3.5. I'm gonna have to give her a 2.5. I'm sorry. It's really bad for Mother. Love her, but it's really bad for her. How does the outsiders don't even like you?
That's literally what I was gonna open with. This girl is the outside to the outsiders. The outsiders don't even think that they have her. That's a problem. That is a problem. So it's really bad. And like I said, like her position is way too low in this game to be an active target. Like literally, she got caught up earlier in the week because she told Zach that Hope needs to be the target. And then Zach went and told Ty, and Ty was like, well, that's weird because she buddy with me at Hope all the time. So they clocked that. And then Jonathan had a very in-depth conversation with Rob about how we cannot tell Vanessa anything. Vanessa is not to be trusted. She's here to stir shit up. Vanessa has to go. That's what Jonathan said randomly. So I don't know what the fuck she did to Jonathan, but it's like, girl, what are you doing? So I was going to say it's a 3. But word on the curve, she has some type of that shit with Dan.
That's true. So she might not go to. That's true. I forgot about that. You know what? I forgot about that because Dan's HOH. Dan and her have a weird, close relationship. But I just don't trust that Dan gonna have any input. I see Dan taking that girl out. I'm keeping it.
I do. I'll say it's. I'll be nice and give it a 3.5. Just because I feel like there is a slight chance that she can survive.
I don't think she's going. She could easily not go home this
and
week.
I will say to be positive. To be positive, when she's talking game, one of the main people she talks game with, only person really is Kuzie, because Kuzie's mother and talk game with everybody. She has a good understanding of the game. She knows she hates Zach. She knows that Zach is running again. She's aware of that. She knows what the guys are doing. But y'all know her strategy from preseason. She wants to be the mom. She wants to be the boy mom. She wants to go to the alphas and kind of be their mom and make sure that they're, good and cooking.
And they clock that.
We sent her with the vacuum multiple times. Sponsorship, get her a deal. But it's like clear that it's not working that well. People are not including her. People are not including her as a parachute, and that's really, really bad. But she does seem aware. I feel like she's probably more aware of what's happening in the game than Anika. And Anika's in a better position. So if Vanessa's able to get into it in at least a Anika position,
it can move up.
Maybe she can move. I think she can move up because I thought she would be way more in the clouds than what she is.
That's true. We'll see, y'all. Last but not least, this is an interesting last person.
This is a good one.
We don't usually have good last people. It usually be like just anybody. How you feel about Zach?
Zach is a really interesting character. I feel like there's a lot to Zach. It's layers. He's like an ogre, like initially starting off, it's very clear he had a lot of influence. He, from what we see in the edit and a little bit in digital dailies, he is the one that, put the bug in Santina's ear to get out John Michael, her literal partner in the HOH competition. Like, he also built the guys alliance from what we've seen. He has a relationship with Ty. He has a relationship with Jonathan, a very strong one. Rob doesn't like him, but Rob isn't doing much to get him out at all. And then Hope also likes him as well. He's built connections with Anika. Now that's kind of it. The issue is over the week, as things have gone by, people are aware of his gameplay because Zach has a very, very loud, obnoxious personality. When he's in rooms with people, he's very much, I'm going to teach you how to play Big Brother. He talks to these people like Paul. It's like Paul and BB19. At least Paul was a veteran. You have never played this game before, and he's teaching people how to play. And then it works for someone like Hope who asks, but it doesn't work for everyone. People don't like things mansplained. That's what he does. He mansplains a lot of things. So the girls have him clocked. So when Santina, Claudia, Renee, and Shanaya were having a conversation, one of the main things they mentioned was Zach. Every time Claudia had a conversation, she mentioned Zach. When she was speaking to Shanaya, she said, Dan is likely going to do whatever Zach wants. And that's a problem. That means whatever Dan does this week, Zach is going to get blamed for it. That means Zach is going to take the fall for it, and that is going to be the issue moving forward. So if someone outside of his power structure wins, he can easily be targeted and easily go home, and that's a big issue. However, he did a lot of great work this week. I mean, he centered the house around him and Ty, and then kind of uncentered it with his own personality. But he put in a lot of good work. He influenced everything that happened week 1, and we have, good reason to believe he's going to influence everything in week 2 because of that. So I would be way lower because of the people that are saying his name, but because of the good work he did this first week, and because of the good work he's probably going to do this week, because he probably can run Dan to the ground, I'm going to say it's a 6.5.
Oh!
I just think you can't ignore whether it's a short, whether it's gonna be, whether it's not gonna last long, whether it's gonna blow up in his face. That's not happening yet. He still has a core of men that are all loyal to him, minus Rob, and are working for him. He still has some outsiders that are realizing what he's doing, but are not necessarily going after him. And like I said, because Dan is the HOH, he's probably not going home this week, and he's going to get his way. So he has another opportunity to restructure the house around him in some type of capacity.
I honestly feel like Dan being an HOH is worse for him because I feel like it kind of guarantees next week he's going home in a way.
I see that as well.
I think everybody's going to be like, this nigga just ran 2 HOs in a row. You're going home. I think the only people who won't take him out are Ty, Hope, and Jonathan. Next week, everybody else is probably going to backdoor him. He has 3 people and himself who, in my opinion, can win HOH and him not get back the fuck door. I think every other HOH is going to back the fuck door him. Honestly, truly, every single other person.
You know,
and that's bad.
He kind of has like the crack energy of Paloma, don't he?
He does. Like a strategic person, but that's the thing. No one had Paloma clocked. I'm sorry.
No one had Paloma clocked.
No one had Paloma clocked. Paloma would have won the game. I'm sad. No, she wouldn't have. No, the fuck she wouldn't have. I'm gonna give him 5.5. That's all. He ran it, but not even in a good way because by the end of the week, before the week was over, Santina clocked him. So it's like, you ran Santina, but she still had you clocked before that week ended.
And that's why it's like, I think considering that it's a bad thing, but like I'm also that's the thing. If it was anybody else in HOH, other than Ty, of course, or Jonathan, I wouldn't be this high. I'll probably say a 5.5 or a 5 as well. But the fact that it's Dan and the only relationship we know that Dan has is Zach, it's like, well, this nigga's gonna be here. Pencil him in for week 3 because that's week 3.
And then he can win week 3 or Ty can win week 3. It's like,
imagine if he win week 3 or Ty
up. But that's the thing. But that's the thing. I think the longer he saved, the more likely it is he goes home. In my opinion, I think if he as soon as one of them don't win HOH, your ass is grass, bitch. And that's why I was like, ooh, but he played good. He did good for that first week. Period.
He did that one little thing.
He did that one little thing.
He did
like you're not that girl for real.
You have to go there, but you ate that one little thing.
But you ate that one little thing.
You eat a lot, but
you eat a lot, but just that one thing is what you ate. Boom! I put them on water, y'all. This is cute order.
This is a cute order.
Gag order.
We are dating order.
Okay, if you are listening to the motherfucking podcast, we put them in order for our number 1 rating to our number, what is this, 15, 14? So we have Vanessa at the bottom. I'm sorry. She has a 3. We have Rob right above her, tied with Dan. They both have 3.75s. I think that makes sense, even though one's HOH.
And the other going home.
It was going home. We have the girls tied, not all the girls, but Santina, Renee, and Anika all have 4s. We both gave them all 4s. That's cute. Right above them, we have Shanaya. She has a 4.75. We have Hope tied with Shanaya at a 4.75. Then we have Daniel at a 5.25. We got Zach at a 6 and Claudia at a 6. And then a big 3. Don't need a big speech. So the top 3 rated players we have is Kuzie. She's number 3 with a 6.75. Ty, he has a 7. And Jonathan, he has a 7.5. I think that makes so much sense.
Cute rating.
Cute rating or whatever, y'all. So that's it. We ate that the fuck up. Put in the comments, how would you rate some of the players? Tell us who you think was the best player last week, who was the worst player last week or whatever. Tell us how you think about our ratings or whatever. And tell us how you think about our draft. Because leave in the loops.
I'm gonna lose.
Even based on the way we rated, the highest person on your team who we rated, no, was Ty. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you got
the highest with but you got Jonathan Kuzie
and Zach. But you got Daniel. Listen, we kind of what? Yeah. Because you got Jonathan, I got Jonathan, you got Ty. I got Kuzie, you got Claudia. I got Zach, you got Daniel. I got Hope. You got Hope, I got Shanaya.
We just went back and forth. So it's bad for me because the likely targets is Rob, who I got, and then the other options is Renee, who I got.
Yeah.
The other option is Anika, who I got.
Yeah.
Shit, it could be Hope, who I also got.
Yeah. It could be Vanessa, but that's the only person. And Santina could be nommed. I don't think Santina nor Vanessa will go home this week though.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I'm like.
I do feel like I'm missing somebody, but I may lose the battle.
And Amal did not get evicted.
Doesn't matter. She's out. Sorry.
Well. So we'll see next week how it goes or whatever. I don't know what to tell y'all. But that was cute or whatever. If you don't know, every Tuesday we will be covering the Digital Daily Recap. We will be recapping the Digital Dailies with all the tea that we have for this week. Every Friday we will be covering the player ratings. We'll be rating the players like we did today. So stay tuned Tuesday and Friday for Big Brother. If you're into Survivor, right after Survivor Wednesdays, every single episode we go live and we record Survivor player ratings. We talk about an episode, period. We are also doing the Challenge World Tour. So if you're into that, on Thursdays we will be posting Challenge World Tour episodes or whatever, period. We have and then we have the finale
I'm either one.
So check that out if you're into that. If you don't follow us right now at T Reality Kingdom on all our motherfucking socials. Make sure you comment like I fucking said how you feel about these fucking ratings. Right the fuck now, people.
Do it now. Do it now.
Do it now. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mom. Subscribe right now. If you're not subscribed, subscribe right now because I feel like you're not. And that's weird.
Can you play it in our face at this point?
Go follow us on Twitter.
Santina, don't play it in our face.
Don't play in our face. Go follow us on Twitter.
Go follow us on Twitter. Go follow us on Instagram.
TikTok.
Period.
Anyways, y'all, we the fuck out. Thank you. Mwah.